Right, so I'm joined here with Tiny. Tiny, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
My real name's Alan, former French Foreign Legion Gulf War veteran. Unfortunately I didn't do my whole 5 years in the Foreign Legion. I'm 53 years of age and just doing what I can really. So
tell us a little bit about like your childhood growing up.
I've got CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I had a rough upbringing, bad childhood. I went through a spate as well, where I'd run away from home really, really young, and I ended up locked in somebody's flat, and it wasn't very nice, let's just say that. I've got a poetry book on Amazon. I write poetry to help my PTSD.
What was the book called?
It's called Love, Life and the Legion by Alan Stokes.
So we'll link that all in the bio, so people can check all those links out. And
I also podcast my poetry, and on my podcast it goes into my trauma events and explains where my poetry comes from.
Yeah.
Because I believe that helps. It helps me get it out there. I'm not very good at speaking to people, not very good at reaching out. I'm a man, so and on top of that I'm a veteran.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, if I'd have gone to my commanding officer and said, "Excuse me, sir, but I'm struggling today," I'd have got a punch in the face, and he'd turn around and say, "You're still struggling, Legionnaire." And so you learn not to reach out, you learn not to tell people you're suffering, and that I had a really bad childhood. My parents are dead now.
Yeah.
So is most of my family. I'm pretty much on my own. I grew up in a place called Telford in Shropshire. I was born in a place called the Gasworks in Wellington, in Telford. So you can imagine what sort of a state that was.
Yeah.
They've still got a saying there saying, you can take the person out the gasworks, but you can't take the gasworks out the person. It's, you know what I mean, pretty rough estate. I think I've had my throat cut, and somebody tried to rob me years ago. Part of my head taken away. I've been through the wars. I've got no doctor. I do all my own surgery. I've got a scar here on my stomach. On my cycle ride, my seat came off and stabbed me through the stomach. So I took a good swig of Jack Daniels, the anaesthetic, and then swilled it out with vodka and sea salt, and then stapled it back together. So I'm probably about as rough and down to earth as they come, really, to be honest. I do all my own surgery, I sew myself back together, I sew my lip together before now, and I've been 30 years homeless on the street. People ask me how I cope, and you're not supposed to, but you get used to it. I cook a Sunday dinner in a hole in the ground, and like an earth oven. I can do all that, and I'm pretty self-sufficient really when I'm out. I've had 2 heart attacks. My second heart attack was during lockdown, when they forced me indoors with absolutely no support, and I had a stress heart attack then. So it's I'm diabetic, asthmatic, I've got arthritis, and but I'm still plodding on. Yeah. I'm still plodding on to determine what I'm going to do. So I've had a really bad. I always say to people, I'm honest. Yeah. You know what I mean? I've got nothing in the closet, and I've had a really, really bad drug habit at one point. I was on heroin, but I fought through that. At one point, it took me to dance on the end of a rope, and I was cut down unconscious, to turn my life around. And it was at that point I decided that if I was going to be forced to live life, then I'm going to live it the best I can. And I did something literally that the drug counsellors say you can't do. Yeah. I went to them first and I went, look, I want a week's worth of Subutex. I said, and that's it. Just give me a week's worth, So I can do an 87, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in milligram, and then stop. And they went, no, you can't do that. So I brought some off the street. Went all the way down to Dorchester in Dorset, where I knew nobody. I alienated all the drug dealers, all the drug takers, to make sure they didn't come nowhere near me. And yeah, first day I took 8 milligram of Subutex, then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stopped. I haven't looked back since. I'll always be counted as recovering, because it's always there. Yeah. Same as an alcoholic, it's always there. But yeah, I'm living a better life now, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's yeah, loving it.
So you've got upcoming at the end of February, the second journey that you're doing. Just tell us a little bit about why you're doing the journey and the money that you've raised so far. What the goal is with the journey and the money going from the journey. Yeah.
Well, the first journey was a cycle ride. I was towing a half-ton trailer behind me push bike, big yellow thing. People have some of your viewers might have seen it already, seen me doing it. That one took me nearly 2 years. It took me 22 months and 28 days to cycle all the way around. That included Snowdon, Ben Nevis and Orkney Islands. I raised £10,000 in the end, and that went out to all the little small charities, the non-profits that are out there that help veterans, and Blue Light Services for PTSD. My dream has always been to start my own PTSD retreat, totally free, for veterans and Blue Light Services, self-supported. So the second journey I'll be doing for that, I'll be starting from St Austell in Cornwall, and walking around with a chicken. Her name is Blue. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. She's got a fluorescent jacket and a lead, and I believe it'll be the first chicken to do a full coastal and the 3 peaks. I know one sailed around the country before, but one hasn't actually walked around. Yeah, so it's going to be fun, keeping away from the foxes and whatnot. But yeah, that's going to be hopefully to raise enough to buy some land and start the PTSD retreat. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be a lot easier if somebody can donate or lease me some, and then I have to raise the money to kit it out. I've already got a construction map in my head how I actually want it to look. I only need half an acre to get started, and the camp's going to be called Hope. To give people hope. We want to lift some veterans off the street, give them a bit of respect back. I think when I was literally in a doorway at my lowest, I managed to keep hold of my self-respect, and that is all I could grip hold to, and that's the bit that kept me alive in the end, my self-respect. And I think veterans and Blue Light Services that are on the street will respect me more, because I've been there, I've been where they are now, and I'm a prime example of, you know, you can come out the other side. There is a light at the end of that tunnel, and it's not a train. You know what I mean? It's hope.
What's some of the things, like, I mean, for people that don't understand, like, the effects of PTSD, I mean, there was a guy that just come to the camp down here at RAF Scampton, and he was saying, like, he's had a couple of bad days with PTSD. Like, what are some of the experiences, like, you experience yourself with a CPTSD? Like, what can kind of trigger it, or when can it kind of happen, and like how does that make you feel, and how do you cope with that?
Yeah, because mine's CPTSD, so I've got a lot of trauma. Even the NHS have refused to treat me because it's like opening a can of worms. Yeah. It can be anything. Loud bangs I'm not expecting. You know, fireworks when they go up, if I'm watching them go up and I know they're going up, I'm alright. But if I'm unaware of it, it can really trigger me off. When I came back from Iraq, I had everything. You know, I had my own home, which fiance, which we paid cash for. I was working full time with Makita. machine operator set. I had my own business. I had 2 motorbikes, a van. I had a car, she had a car. We were debt free. And then PTSD kicked in, and I was crying, shouting and screaming in my sleep, and it tore us apart, literally tore us apart. And that was about 30 years ago when I left and went on the street. I can now, thanks to my first journey, go into supermarkets on my own without panic attacks. But at one point I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't go on a date because I couldn't go into restaurants that were packed. I had to sit with my back to a wall, not a window. I had to be able to see the doors, entrances, exits. It's a lot of people call or class PTSD as a mental illness. I would rather call it a disability because it's disabilitating.
Yeah.
You know, it stops you from doing things. You know what I mean? It's not in your head. It's literally, it physically stops you from doing things.
I mean, it's kind of, in a sense, not given like a reason for people to do drink or drugs or take medications, but you can easily see why people veterans end up on the streets, but because the vast amount of times, though there are services I assume that they can access, but they're limited by the inexperience. Like it's almost tokenistic that some of the services must be providing something and they've generally not been through it, but they're trying to do something good, but it's not really relatable.
I think for a lot of veterans on this, I'm only speaking for myself.
Yeah, sure.
The problem is reaching out. That's one problem.
Yeah.
Second thing is embarrassment. You know what I mean? You know, once you're a proud soldier. Like a mate of mine said, Dave, you know, he's not long come back from Western Sahara and that, and he's gone from what they call hero to zero.
Yeah.
Like that. It's, you know, 1 minute he's saving people's lives, and and the next he's sweeping up leaves in the garden. And that's a big drop. It's a massive drop. But for a lot of people as well on the street, it's embarrassment. I didn't want to tell people at the time that I was on drugs. I was drinking. It's pride.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's hard to reach out. A lot of people it's judgmental. You know what I mean? A lot of people judge you for what you do and what you're doing, and that stops you from reaching out. You know what I mean? A lot of agencies won't treat you if you're on drink or drugs.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? Find out why the person is on drink and drugs. Treat the addiction and the reason that they're using at the same time. Not one then the other, or just the one. If you treat the one without the other, you're putting them back to square one when you send them back out there.
What's just I'm kind of standing here thinking, like, talking about land. If it's like say half an acre is something in your mind with your plan that you could like work with. Like if somebody like stepped forward and said, listen, I've got some land, like you could have it for 5 years to do what you want. Like would you be open if there's like, right, it's in, I don't know, Cornwall or any kind of location, would you kind of consider something like that?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I would actually try and lease it for longer after that if I could.
Sure.
Because we'd have to I'd want to show what we were doing. But yeah, I've got workshops. People willing to come in and do workshops already. You know, I've got the Plymouth Warriors within. Stephen Daniel is willing to come up wherever it is, even if it's up in Scotland, Wales, wherever, and teach Muay Thai. Brian Armstrong has got his own martial arts academy in Great Yarmouth, something like that.
Yeah.
And he's willing to come up and do workshops. They all follow me on Facebook. I've got Andrew's Journey, who did the NC 500 in winter during lockdown. He got in a lot of trouble for that one. Andrew Finney, great bloke. I met him up in Scotland. He's willing to come in and do workshops. And yeah, I've got a mate of mine who's a fully qualified drug and alcohol counsellor. He had a bad habit himself, really bad. We used to use together, and yeah, I'm so proud of that. He's come so far. And the day when I was doing my journey, and he phoned me up and he went, Tiny, he said, I'm proud of you, mate. Now that put a lump in my throat, because I've always looked at, he came off a lot earlier than I did. He's done so well, and for somebody that I was looking up to and so proud of, to turn around and say, you know, that he's looking up at me now and he's so proud of me, it's, you know, that literally put a lump in my throat and made me really, really emotional. And he's willing to come and do workshops as well. It's, yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. We'll have people coming in doing that, what do you call it when you put your legs over your shoulders and...
Yoga?
That's the one, yeah. Yeah, yoga. People coming up to yoga with us. I've got all the workshops set up. I've got the plan for the camp in my head already with walkways. Everything has to be on wheels to avoid planning permission,
yeah.
Which I'm hoping we would get eventually anyway. And yeah, it's going to be brilliant. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And I'll accept land anywhere in the country. Anywhere. I just need to get started, prove what we can do. And I want to get a board as well. Have a board meeting like once a month. And on that I want the Chief of Police or a representative, Fire Brigade, ambulance and the local vicar. And he's going to be the most powerful one there for us really, because he'll be our connection with the community. Yeah. You know what I mean? Everybody else, you know, if we need first aid kits, ambulance service, fire stuff, fire brigade, any trouble, we've got the police on call as well. But yeah, the most valuable person for us would be the local vicar on the board, because he's our connection with the community. And I've already worked all this out in my head, so it's yeah, it's all there. I just need the land. Yeah, it's going to have to be land, not woodland, because there's more restrictions about living in woodlands, right, than there is on normal land. It's yeah.
How long's this, or when does the journey start, and how long exactly do you anticipate that's going to take?
Well,
with the chicken.
Yeah, I can anticipate it. I anticipate the first journey starting around to take me a year. It took me nearly 2. Yeah, it's going to start on the 9th of March. 9th of March. From St Austell in Cornwall.
Yeah.
Channel 4 have already been up and spoke to me. They took my numbers. Hopefully they will cover me starting off from St Austell. I got covered on the cycle ride by BBC. I was on the news there, and ITV Anglia. So I think Channel 4 are going to jump at this one, because they're basically the only one that's ever covered me on the last journey. But yeah, it's going to start on the 9th of March, me and my chicken called Blue. I'm estimating it's going to take 3 to 4 years.
Yeah.
I want to cover all the islands this time, every single one. Orkney, Shetland. I want to do the 3 peaks. Ben Nevis nearly killed me last time. It was murder. But yeah, I swore I'd never do Ben Nevis again. But somebody's invited me, some bikers I met who live near Scafell Pike, and they've invited me to walk up there with them on my journey. So I thought, well, if I'm doing that one, I might as well do Snowdon, because a mate of mine who went up there with me last time, he's willing to do Snowdon with me. And I thought, well, if I do Scafell Pike and stuff, I've got to do Ben Nevis again. I can't leave it out. So yeah, but this time I want to go all the way up to Shetland. Yeah, cover all the islands this time.
Well, I know, without a doubt, that there's going to be a following of people from the start, from the last journey. But if you got like contingency plans, like if anything happened to the chicken or to yourself, like if you got things like you know, people that you can reach out to instantly, like, listen, I need help, or like, is there ways that people will be able to help you from the offset while you're kind of going around the country?
Yeah, I'll be going with minimal kit.
Yeah.
I'll be taking minimum food with me. I'm diabetic, so I've got to gather and whatnot en route. If anything happens to chicken, sorry about this. it's going to be in the pot. It's as simple as that. You know what I mean? It won't be intentional, but it's just something that's got to happen. It's you know.
I should have worded it better. Like I meant, like if a chicken got ill or something, or I didn't mean like, oh. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But I will take out pet insurance.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they'll cover a chicken.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the chicken passes away, I'm not going to waste it.
Yeah.
I wanted to make it all the way around with me, blessed, because it's going to actually be fantastic. But yeah, I've got a group on Facebook called Let's Go Again for PTSD. It's already got over 300 followers on there. Last group I had 4.1k. So it's I expect this one to really snowball again like the last one. My PTSD was really bad on the last one because I'd done no work on myself. And yeah, so I really struggled. Every time somebody realised I wasn't doing too good, they reached out to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was, yeah, they got me to safety. They got me feeling better, and yeah, so absolutely fantastic. Most of the country knows me already now. Yeah. So I can literally go anywhere and get help and support.
I will list like every single. One last thing I think I said about the book at the start, but you're actually going to be doing another book. Is it after this journey?
Well, I like to do it during. I've got no laptop and nothing like that to write. Everything is on my old groups. I've used that as a vlog as well as a group.
Right.
All the pictures on there. But yeah, I've wrote a poetry book which has got 18 global 5-star reviews on Amazon.
Yeah.
So everybody's brought that one and read that one wants another one, so I've got to do that one.
Yeah.
But they're also asking about a book about, you know, my cycle ride, and I might do it after this one once I'm settled again.
Yeah.
And put the two together, because there's so many things that happened on the cycle ride. It was, I was asleep in a churchyard in Boy, in Cornwall, and I've got an army slug, an army sleeping bag. You flex them, these up some zip. Although it's winter, I'm pretty warm, so I've got no top on. I've got bond on, I've got no top on, and I'm behind the gravestones. And what I would call kids, anybody younger than me is a kid as far as I'm concerned. It's like, yeah, I mean, I'm 53, so if you're under 25, I'm sorry, but that's just like, yeah. And they came around with torches, so of course I've sat up seeing the torches. Evening, boom, they've gone, screaming down the road. One of the lads came back about 15 minutes later, went, sorry for waking you up, mate. I just thought, I promise, are your friends all right? He said, you know what? He said, I think they're still running. He said, wow, he said, you scared us. He said, you really did. I think it was something they weren't expecting. Yeah. I went for a pee in a lay-by in a bush, and the police car went straight past me, on the way to Bude it was, in Cornwall, and he's gone straight past me, come back up and run into the lay-by, and he's got his car and he's walking towards me. I just went, sorry mate, there's not enough room for two, you'll have to wait. He just laughed, got back at me. But you know, you can't make these things up. It's I rode through a thunderstorm, and you know, wow, it was pelting down. And they're not laughing at me, they're laughing with me. Like, I mean, all the cars going past me in both directions. I'm going down this hill and I'm looking up at the sky going, is that the best you've got? But yeah, it's everybody called me nuts. I do me swimming. Next journey, when I'm walking around, every time I hit a beach, I'll be getting in the water, no matter what the weather. People do actually say to me, they stopped me in Cornwall before now and gone, Tony, you're not going swimming today, are you? It's raining. I'm like, well, we're there. I don't know if you're aware, but it's the same substance, and I'm going to get wet anyway. No, but yeah, I think last time I went swimming, I can't remember what the beach was called, but it wasn't far from St Austell, and I was looking up at the waves. There was a lady supposed to be going with me, and she just looked out at sea and thought, no way, I'm not doing that. I said, what do you record it then? And you can hear her on the recording going, he's mad, he's crazy, he's so, and I've disappeared about 5 times under these massive waves. I'm far away, yeah. Literally looking up at them. It's, oh, yeah. But I enjoy it. I love it. Yeah. I meditate. I'm spiritual. I do my wild swimming, and I'm a lot more laid back now than I used to be. So, and I'm single. I'm single.
So we're at RAF Scampton. So this is where you're going to be staying until the beginning of the journey. So I suppose really, if people wanted to come and meet you and show some support, like that would be perfectly fine. To pop in and have a chat and maybe ask questions that I've not asked. So yeah, we'll get that out there so people could maybe do that just to show some support or just to come and have a chat.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm also on TikTok.
Yeah. My
TikTok profile I made up while I was cycling around, and I'm known as a tad tired, which is quite appropriate at the time. Yeah. But Tiny at a tad tired on TikTok there. I have got a YouTube channel which I don't post on much. I'm hoping to get a little camera to put on Blues Jackie.
Right.
And I'll make her own profile up, and yeah, it can be called A Bird's Eye View.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be good. So we'll wrap this up. But one question: what do you think? One thing that would make the world better.
I always say. Because a lot of people say world peace and all that, and no, you'll never get that. But I do something what a lot of people know as paying it forward. If you do one good deed a day, that one good deed can change that one person's life. And then if that person does one good deed, when somebody else and somebody else and somebody else, we can slowly change people's outlook and change the world that way. Just one good deed a day. I was on a coach, can't remember where I was travelling, it was hot, and there was a pregnant lady on there, Muslim. Her husband was trying to waft her with paper, he couldn't settle, she couldn't settle, and I'd already decided what I was going to do, and I went into the services as it pulled up, and I brought a little USB charged fan.
Yeah.
And when I got back out, they weren't on the coach, she was throwing up at the side of the road, and I walked up and I go, there you go. He tried to give me the money for it, tried to refuse it. I said no. I said, look, this is a gift off me. I said, please don't insult me and you know what I mean, and try and pay me for it. What I will say is, one day you'll come across somebody else that needs your help, and just pay it forward for me. You know what I mean? That is the best way you can help me and say thank you, is by helping somebody else. And I say that to everybody, always pay it forward and try and smile every day. Smiles are contagious, you know what I mean? Yeah. You're smiling now, you're saying it, you know what I mean? You smile at somebody, they smile back. Yeah. Smiles are contagious.
I'll just leave it. Is there anything you want to say, like anything at all, to end the video? I'll leave it to you to say anything, or you can just cut it and be done.
Yeah, I'm a prime example that you can overcome anything. You can overcome anything. As I said, I'm laid back, and yeah, just be kind to each other, man. There's no need for hatred. The only positive emotion out there that we possess is love. That's it. That's the only positive emotion that we have, and that's love. All the rest of the negative ones, you just love each other, man. It's yeah, it's not hard to do. And if you smile, it shows that you're lazy. You know why, don't you? Because you use less face muscles by smiling than you do by being miserable. You know, yeah, you know what I mean. And so yeah, lazy people smile. Be lazy. Like me.
Thanks, Tony. Perfect.